I'm not a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada, but I will try to call on the mercy of Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya. And I may ask some trick questions, so pay attention. And some of them I will present a question. If you know the answer, don't give the answer until I ask for questions. Because if we present a dilemma, then the people have to listen carefully for what the answer is. If I just say, chant Hare Krishna, then you know it. So if I create a little bit of doubt, it's only so people will think, well, what is the answer to that? What is the answer to that? And the answer will come when people, the Greeks call this begging the question. The question becomes so important that you listen when the answer comes. Maybe Krishnadas Kaviraj should say something about us listening. Let's see if he does. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This chapter is entitled Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So text 13, I don't know if you have, is it written up there? Okay. Krishna ke kaye keya nada narayana. Keho kaye Krishna haya shakshat vamana. Shall we repeat this one and I'll just read the rest? Or do you want to repeat the last one? We'll repeat this one. Krishna ke kaye keya nada narayana. Keho kaye Krishna haya shakshat vamana. Krishna ke kai kahaya keya nara narayana. Keho kaye Krishna haya shakshat vamana. Repeat. Is it up there? No? Krishna ke kai. Ladies, Vaishnavis. Krishna ke, Lord Krishna, kahe, says, keha, someone, Narayan, keho, someone, kahi, says, Krishna, Lord Krishna, haya, is, shakshat, directly, Vamana, Lord Vamana. Translation. Some say that Sri Krishna is directly Narayan. Others say that he is directly Vamana. Interesting. We'll move on to text 14. Since we repeated that, I'll just read through these. We won't repeat them all. Text 14. Keho kahi Krishna shirodaya sahi avatara asambhava nahi sacha vachana sabara. Keho, someone. Kahi, says. Krishna, Lord Krishna. SriRadha Sahi. Shirodakshai Vishnu. Avatara, incarnation. Asambhava, impossible. Nahi, is not. Sacha, true. Vachana, speeches. Sabara, of all. Some say that Krishna is the incarnation of Shirodaksha Vishnu. None of these statements is impossible. Each is as correct as the others. Purport. In the Bhagavatam it states, Ata eva purando kachinnara shakshat matam mahendranujatam kechit kshirabahi sayitam sahasra shiratam kechit vaikuntha natam brukrishnasya munayas tad vriti anugaminaha. According to the intimate relationships between Sri Krishna, the primeval Lord, and his devotees, the Puranas describe him by various names. Sometimes he is called Narayan, sometimes Upendra, the younger brother of Indra, king of heaven. Sometimes Shirodaksha Vishnu. Sometimes he is called the thousand-hooded Seshanaga. And sometimes the Lord of Vaikuntha. Text 15. Keho kahi paravome narayana bhari Shakala sambhare Krishna yate avatari. Keho, someone. Kahi, says. Paravome, in the transcendental world. Narayana, Lord Narayan. Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shakala Sambharve, all possibilities. Krishna, in Lord Krishna. Yate, since. Avatari, the source of all incarnations. Translation. Some call him Hari, or the Narayan of the transcendental world. Everything is possible in Krishna, for he is the primeval Lord. Text 16. Shubha Shrota Ganera Kari Charana Vadana Esaba Siddhanta Suma Kari Ekamana. Sabha, all. Shrota Ganera, of the bearers. Kari, I do. Charana, to the lotus feet. Vandana, praying. E, these. Sabha, all. Siddhanta, conclusions. Suma, please hear. Kari, making. Eka, one. Mana, mind. Translation. Now listen to this carefully. Remember I said maybe Krishna Das Kaviraj should write something about how we should listen to this? Let's see if he does. I offer my obeisances unto the feet of all who hear or read this discourse. Kindly hear with attention the conclusion of all these statements. Purport. Prostrating himself at the feet of his readers, the author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita entreats them in all humility to hear with rapt attention these conclusive arguments regarding the absolute truth. One should not fail to hear such arguments, for only by such knowledge one can perfectly know Krishna. So it looks like here, tell me if this is wrong, that Krishna Das Kaviraj is honoring by offering obeisances to the feet of the people who read this course, and they should listen to it with kind attention. Because we look at some of these other verses. Some say Krishna is the incarnation of Kshirodakshay Vishnu. Some call him Hare or Narayana. Everything is possible in Krishna. Are these statements true? Yes, but are they completely true? It's like they say in the court, you have to tell the truth, the whole truth, but nothing but the truth. It's just like if they say, I ran out into the parking lot and somebody grabbed me and took my keys away. Look, they have mistreated me. But someone else says, oh, but I took the keys out of that person's pocket and was trying to go to his car. So the whole picture is not there. But we see in one sense, Krishna is possible in all of these things. We have 50 qualities, I won't name them all right now, in partial degree. And Lord Narayan has these, and so does Krishna, correct? And there's some 10 extra qualities. Raise your hand if you have any of these, and tell me if both Narayan and Krishna have these qualities. Ever fresh? That's not you? All cognizant? All mystic perfection? All yogic potencies? Nobody yet? Nobody has? Universes come out of your body? Attractor of all liberated souls? Give salvations to the enemies that you killed? Don't try that one. And he's the source of all incarnations and the attractor of all liberated souls. Does this not apply to both Krishna and Narayan? Does it not apply to Rama? So, is Rama also God? Is Narayan God? Is Krishna God? So then there isn't much worry about what we worship or understanding a difference, is there? Is there? Yes? Maybe? No? Little bit of both. Narayan has all those qualities. Krishna has those qualities. So what's the difference then? Rama has these qualities. What's the difference? This is why he's presenting these things, because later on he's going to expand on this, because we think, okay, with all the Sanskrit and Bengali and Prabhupada's purports, this Chaitanya Charitamrita composes about 7,300 pages. But if all of these are different forms of God, what's the need of writing something new? Don't we already have the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is 18,000 verses on this planet? In the Brahma Loka, it's 1,000,000 verses. Can someone write down the extra 82,000 verses for me on a big piece of paper that are on Brahma Loka? We'll have to wait a while for that, yes? Plus, when you go to Brahma Loka, they had this on the History Channel. I think it was Maharaj Revata. They were concluding that time must go different on different planets, like heavenly planets. We can conclude Venus is a heavenly planet because you know how long one day on Venus is? It's 243 of our days. So anything over 6 months is a heavenly planet. And you can't see it because it's covered by an atmosphere. That means there's nothing there. Just like when you walk down to the beach, some of these big houses have big walls in front of them. That means no one lives there? No, it just means they don't want you to see them. So Venus is the same way. They don't want us to send something up there and spy on what they're doing because we're not qualified. So, as it said on the History Channel, which came from the Vedas, that Maharaj Ravana went to Brahmaloka and he said, I want to find an excellent husband for my wife. And they told him, listen, on Brahmaloka, the things go so fast here. One of Brahma's days is the day is 4,320,000,000 years, and the night is the same. So a full day would be 8,640,000,000 years. So by the time you get back to Earth, all those people are long gone. And it's amazing they're presenting this on the History Channel. They show something about that there was airplanes in the past, and they show Krishna and Arjuna going through the coverings of the universe, and Dhruva Maharaj is going back to Godhead in an airplane to show that these things existed in the past, and then they disappeared. They've done this when they've looked at pyramids in Mexico, that the ones that are 5,000 years old are more advanced than ones 1,000 years old, and the one that's 12,000 is even more advanced. So they can't figure out how older is more advanced, because they don't think that things can go backwards, but they can. Just watch. They're working so hard at destroying things already that the chance of things going backwards is very great. So we're looking at these different incarnations of Godhead. Why is it necessary to present something new with Chaitanya? We already have Ramayana. These give instructions. Krishna gives instructions in Bhagavad-gita. Vamanadev has his story on the Srimad Bhagavatam. Varaha comes and rescues the earth. Lord Nrsingadev is there. It must be all the same, right? You can treat Rama the same. Do we offer respects to Krishna, Narayan, Nrsinga, and Rama, all as being God? But is there a chance that the mood is different? Let's go to Vrindavan for a second. No, let's stay there forever. Krishna is, now this is going to be a trick question I ask, but you can answer at the end. Krishna is dancing with Radharani and the gopis. And they're thinking how special they are. And Krishna just disappears. Do I have it in the wrong place? Krishna just disappears. It's a real Vipralamba Bhava, right? Krishna disappears. So the gopis go to look for Krishna. Krishna disguises himself as Lord Narayan. Now, when the gopis see Lord Narayan, we'll have a multiple choice question. When they see Lord Narayan, are they A, completely unconcerned with Lord Narayan? B, they understand that Krishna and Narayan are both God, so they're satisfied with Narayan and don't need to look for Krishna? Or C, do they understand that Narayan is the personality of Godhead, pay obeisances to him, but still want to know where Krishna is? Or is it D, all of the above? Which one is it? No, it can't be D, all of the above, because they can't be totally neglecting Narayan and think he's the same. I told you it was extreme, and think he's the same. It can't be both of those, because if they thought he was the same, or they thought he was a personality of Godhead, then they wouldn't neglect him. So automatically A is out, because they didn't neglect Narayan. Do they understand that Narayan is the supreme personality of Godhead? They do. Do they have deities? What deities does Nanda Maharaj worship? Which ones? Narayan. So they understand that Narayan is God, and they bow down to Lord Narayan. Of course they have the great respect, but that they still want to have Krishna? Interesting, because all of these 50 qualities that we have, both Krishna and Narayan have in full. And the 10 extra qualities, Krishna and Narayan both have them in full. They understand Narayan is a personality of Godhead, and they pay obeisances to him, but they still want to know where Krishna is. This means there's something interesting. It's like when Sanatana Goswami had the touchstone, but it was in the trash. If Narayan has all these, well, maybe Krishna has something extra special. Let's discuss an astrologer for a minute. When Nanda Maharaj wanted to do a ceremony for his son Krishna, he called in the astrologer Gargamuni. And Gargamuni says, your son has appeared in this incarnation in blackish color. But he also appears in white color, he appears in red color, and he appears in yellow color. So in this time, we find that it's described in the different ages, that in the Satya Yuga, Krishna appears in the white color. And he teaches the process for that age, which is the transcendental meditation. He appears in the Treta Yuga in the red color and teaches the sacrifice like Agnihotra Yajna, but we're talking about metric tons of ghee and grain. Anybody can walk in with a metric ton of grain and put it in the fire? Which one of you can carry a metric ton of grain? You can if you divide it into 50 pieces. Maybe, right? But not all at once. So then in the Dwarpa Yuga, God appears in the blackish form, and he introduces the process of deity worship. In the Kali Yuga, he comes in a yellow form, and he introduces the process of chanting the holy names. Now, each of these take a long time because the Kali Yuga is 432 million years. The Dwarpa Yuga is 864 million years. The Treta Yuga is 1,796 million years. And the Satya Yuga is, the Satya Yuga is the 1,700,000,000. The Treta Yuga would be 1,280,000 years. So all four together is 4,320,000,000 years. That's the day. And the night is also 4,320,000,000 years. So the full day of Brahma is 8,640,000,000 years. This is one day of Brahma. So we read about the incarnations of God in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So these Yuga avatars appear. The white one would come every 8,640,000,000 years. And the red one would come every 8,640,000,000 years. And the blackish one would come every 8,640,000,000 years. And the yellow one would come every 8,640,000,000 years. This is the cycle of all four yugas. So this means that Krishna comes every 8,640,000,000 years, correct? Does it mean that? Who says yes? Who says no? It's got to be one or the other. So Krishna does not come in his original form every 8,640,000,000 years? He doesn't. A blackish form comes, but it's not the original Krishna. That one comes out of every 1,000 cycles, which is a kalpa, a day of Brahma. Now we're talking 8,640,000,000 billion years till Krishna comes. That's a long time, isn't it? We thought the 8 billion was a long time, but trillion, we're talking trillion is like 12 zeros. 1,000 is 3 zeros. Million is 6 zeros. Billion is 9. So 12 zeros. That's the trillion. That's a big one. So Krishna comes differently. So this may make us understand something about why the gopis were worshiping Narayan, but why they especially wanted to have Krishna. The Bhagavatam mentions that there's many incarnations, but it says, Ete chamsa kalam pumsam, Krishnastu Bhagavan Svayam, that Krishna is the original, that they come from him. Goes from Krishna to Balaram, and then the quadruple incarnation, and then comes Mahavishnu, and then incarnations come from there. So to say they are the same is true, but it's not completely true, because Krishna has these 60 qualities, Narayan has them. So what is the difference? When Krishna comes every 1,000th time, he exhibits some extra sweet qualities. These are mentioned by Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, translated by Prabhupada as Nectar of Devotion. And the 4 extra qualities that Krishna has that you don't see Narayan having is that he has Lila Madhuri, a very special close Lila, where they sometimes remember Krishna as God, they sometimes forget. But the Lila is so special, they're just concerned with the Lila of Krishna and how they're related to Krishna. Just like the mother of a head of a country always thinks of that child as her son. Mother Yasoda sees the universe with inside Krishna, but she says, that's all right, you may be God, but you're my son, you need to come and eat. So their relationship is more important. This Leela is so important, this special Leela, that they have the Prema Madhuri, which means the love that they have in that relationship with Krishna, whether they're a servant or a friend or a parent or a lover. That special rasa they have in that relationship, along with the Leela Madhuri, is so important that their Leela and their Prema is more important to them than to what Krishna's position is. They're concerned with the love more than the position. They pay obeisances to Narayan, but they want to dance with Krishna or herd cows in the forest. It's not like they don't know about Narayan. They worship Narayan. It's funny, it's like the superheroes. The one that comes the closest to Krishna, although no one can, is a Superman. Because Superman is a superhero, he can do things, but he disguises himself as Clark Kent. And the special friends always used to wonder, is Clark Kent Superman or not? And he would always just act like an ordinary person. So Krishna is Leela, he acts just like an ordinary person. He appears to be perplexed when the cowherd boys go inside Aghasura. He appears to be perplexed when Krishna had the cows and calves taken by Brahma. He appears to be perplexed. Because if he appears to be perplexed, then when he does the counter trick, it's just like if you play a trick on me and I want to play a counter trick on you, you know what the first thing I do is? Make you think that your trick is working. Like with the military, if you know that they're going to attack and come in this way, you let them think they're winning, and you have a counter plan to surround them. So Krishna has a couple extra qualities too. Do you want to hear about them? He has the one called Rupa Madhuri, where even though Narayan is very beautiful, Krishna is even the most beautiful. He's so beautiful that when Krishna comes and sees his own form in the reflection, he has to turn around to look at it. This is how special this beauty of Krishna is. And the last one is the Venu Madhuri. We know this is special because Krishna plays, he blows the buffalo horn in the morning, and then he plays the flute to assemble the cows and the cowherd boys. And we know that this flute playing is special because when Radharani meets Krishna on the field of Kurukshetra, she says to her friend, "My dear friend, I met my old and dear friend Krishna on the field of Kurukshetra. He is the same Krishna, and I am the same Radharani. And it is very wonderful, but I still wish to be by the bank of the Yamuna River, hearing Krishna play the sweet fifth note on his flute within that forest of Vrindavan." So the specialness of Krishna in Vrindavan is so special that even if they're with Narayan, they pay obeisances and offer arati, but they still want to be with Krishna. When they see Krishna as Yadunandana and Dwarkanath, they know it's Krishna, but they want him to be back in Vrindavan. They don't want to hear about him as Dwarkanath and Yadunandana. They don't like these names. Radharani will never use these names for Krishna, right? She has names for him, but these are not the names. They want this special, loving relationship that they have. So all these different ones are important. When God comes in the Satya Yuga and teaches a transcendental meditation, but that may not be the process for us. We also do the Agnihotra Yajna, which is in the Treta Yuga, but we do it as a sideline when there's a diksha or when there's a wedding or some death ceremony, something, but it's not our main process. We worship the deities, but it's still not the process for this age. We have the different process for this age. That's why we worship the deities. It goes along with the chanting, because you can chant anywhere and everywhere. So it shows a specialness to get this incarnation for this age. So we see that these incarnations come once every 8 billion. But the original form of Krishna only comes once every 8,640,000,000,000 years. That's a long time, isn't it? That's what you call time immemorial. So he comes every 8,640,000,000 years in either the white, red, black, or yellow. So does Krishna come in every Kali Yuga? In every Kali Yuga, the Lord appears in the yellow form to teach the chanting of the holy names? He does. But is it always Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? No. But a yellow incarnation comes. Who comes then? We can guess this. If he comes in a yellow form, but it's not Krishna, it's Narayan. So if it's Narayan in a yellow form, what would we call him? Gaur Narayan. Good guess. Gaur. Let's call it Narayan. So he does come in the yellow. But again, he comes every 8 billion. And Lord Chaitanya comes every 8,640,000,000,000 years ago. And that's only 500 years ago from that. Think of what percentage that is from back to forward. It's only 500,000. And the 1,000 we're looking at million, billion, trillion, right? So we're looking at 1,000, we're looking at billion, trillion. Think how close we are to the last incarnation. So why is this incarnation special? Because in this age, we need to know how to practice the devotion for this age. The processes we did in past age will not work for us in this age. We're supposed to read the Bhagavatam in order. Some people skipped to the 10th canto. Some people skip all the way to the 13th canto. People who skip to the 13th canto, what do they get? Nothing, because there's only 12 cantos. So if they're going to skip it, might just skip the whole thing, right? But of course, then there's no benefit. But in the 11th canto, there's a verse where it says, Krishna Varnam Tivashtikam Sango Parsadam Yagnai Sankirtan Prayer Yajanti He Sumedasam. That in this age of Kali, the intelligent people will perform the chanting of the holy names to worship the personality of Godhead, who is constantly singing in the names of Krishna. He's not blackish, but he is Krishna himself. And he comes along with his associates, weapons, servants, and confidential companions. And that is the incarnation of Lord Chaitanya. And he comes to teach us how we have the process for this age. Because if we don't know what to do for this age, we can make many mistakes. I learned something about cricket yesterday. Now, if I'd gone out on the field to play cricket, I wouldn't do very well before I learned this, because I heard that in cricket you have a bat and a ball and a wicket. So I thought the purpose was that they pitch the ball to you and I hit the ball and the ball has to hit the wicket, correct? No, it's not correct. What I found out is the wicket is behind me. If I'm going to hit the wicket, I have to go like this, and then that's a strike. The wicket is when the bowler, the pitcher hits it. If the person strikes, but it hits the wicket, then it's a strike against him. If the ball doesn't hit the wicket, it doesn't count against them. So I would be doing things backwards. It's kind of like people come to a temple, and when there's no instruction, just like with that, I'd be doing it backwards. Because if I'm going to try to hit the wicket, it's going to be very hard to wait till the ball passes me and then hits it. And now all I've done is give myself a strike. I've learned this carefully, and I've done something against myself. So people come to a temple. Say we have a temple here, but we won't have any kirtan or any books. We just open a temple with deities. So people come up and, oh, good, the deities are here. I have a list of demands and things that I want you to give me. It's like the person went to the deity of Lord Balaji. And he says, my dear Lord Balaji, he says, I have a proposition for you. If I can win the 2 crore rupee lottery, I'll give you half of it. This is what we call 50% surrender, right? Half the time, I'll let Krishna do it his way. The other half, I'm going to tell him he needs to do it my way. This is the 50% surrendered plan. Well, that's like me trying to hit the ball into the wicket after it passes me. So he goes and he plays the lottery and he wins 1 lakh instead of 2. He goes back to the deity and he says, my dear Lord Balaji, I am so thankful that you helped me win this lottery, but I only won 1 crore instead of 2. So I have one question. Why did you take your half out first? So this is the idea. It's like the comedian George Carlin. You see it, people read these books because he said, what's the use of being God if you don't know what to do until people pray to you with instructions? The shopkeeper comes and prays, please God, make sure my shop is locked so no thief can get inside. Then the thief comes up next and says, please God, make sure that the shop is unlocked so I can go and steal something. And as the comedian says, what's the use of being God if you don't know what to do until someone comes and prays to you with instructions? Do you think that Gaur-Nitai, Radha-Rasbihari, and Ram, Sita, and Lakshman are sitting there perplexed, waiting for someone to show up and pray to them with instructions? But people think this way, don't they? And I have a list of demands. Okay, I want this, I want that, I want the other. A list of things. This is what deities are there for, right? To make demands of. Now who's the servant and who's the master? So if we don't know what to do or don't know what the process of the age is, we are lost. And that's why here it was baking these things. Are they the same? Yes, to a certain degree. Narayana is the same. Vamana is the same. Just like the high court judge is the same as the husband of the wife, but the husband of the wife is more intimate. So Krishna is all those things, plus more. Whereas Narayana is all those things, but not plus more. And Krishna comes in the form of Lord Chaitanya to show us how to develop this special love. And he gives instructions to Sanatana Goswami. He gives instructions to Rupa Goswami. And they write these things down for us. Krishnadas Kaviraj has written this whole Chaitanya Charitamrita with instructions to Rupa Goswami in there. And Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami write other books. These are some of the confidential companions that they talk about. They know Krishna in the spiritual world, and they come here to help us try to understand this. And this is why it's important that we have Rama, because Rama is the personality of Godhead. It's important that we have Krishna, because Krishna is Swayam Rupa, the original form of God, and Radharani is his internal potency. But we especially need to have Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, because they show us how to actually worship Krishna and go back to Krishna. It'd be like me showing up on the cricket field, waiting for you to hit the ball, and then it has to pass me, and I hit it into the wicket. Now, if I do nothing, it hits the wicket, it's a strike against me. If I hit it into the wicket, that's also a strike against me, isn't it? Plus, isn't it more difficult to have the ball pass me and try to hit it to the wicket behind me than to hit it forward? So you can build me a cricket stadium, get me a nice uniform, and you can put Sachin Tendulkar's number on it, so I look like I really know because I have his number. That means I'm a bona fide player, right? Or am I just a player, like I'm going to play these people? And then you give me the cricket field and the bat, and I'm hitting it the wrong direction and scoring points against myself. So Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda show us how to practice this devotion. And that's why when I was here in Mumbai, we see that Prabhupada wanted very quickly to establish the Sri Dham Mayapur. So we took the train, myself and one other devotee. This was the third class train. They don't have it anymore. It was a wooden bench that you'd lay down on. And it cost us 50 rupees to go from Mumbai to Kolkata. 50 rupees. Took 3 days to get there. It was the slow train, but it was the cheap train. 50. Where can you go for 50 rupees now? You can get a ride from here to the beach. Can you? What will they charge you to go to the beach in the auto rickshaw? 100 rupees? Or you go halfway to the beach? You can go halfway, right? So that's what the 50. So we got to Mayapur, and Prabhupada came there very soon after that, because I was staying there in the building with Jayapataka Swami and Achyutananda Swami, and then they cleared a place for me. And then we moved out of the building when Prabhupada came, and Prabhupada stayed in the building, and we put ourselves in tents. We put up a big tent so that we could lay the cornerstone for the project in Mayapur. And when I asked people, do you know what the building was that we stayed in and then Prabhupada stayed in? Who knows what the building was? Yes? Yes, it wasn't the lotus or the conch or the gata. It was the thatched hut. That was the building. Is that we had a property with improvements. That improvements means like here you have a building's a temple, and you have a brahmachari ashram, and you have the heaven on earth. These are the improvements, right? But if you have one little shed, it's like, well, our property has improvements, right? Like the shed out here where where you come in and they go to check the people for. Yesterday, somebody had left a bag and said he'd be right back. He didn't come for 10 minutes, so I got the security and they ran it through the machine and it was only closed, but it was suspicious, right? Because you're not supposed to just leave a bag and disappear. And so they ran it through. Unfortunately, there was no bomb, but when we see someone leaves a bag, we have to have them go check it because, if they're going to the restroom, they can take it. Why are they leaving it there? Turned out it wasn't bad, but we have to check these things. So there's the little, where the people come in, the car gate, they make them go in that little room. If that was the only building we say, oh, our property has improvements, they wouldn't be as pressed as they are by a guest house and a restaurant and a temple, right? So that was kind of on the same standard that thatched hut was. But Prabhupada very quickly wanted to get this Mayapur project going. And he laid the cornerstone because Lord Chaitanya is showing us how to worship Krishna. It'd be like the difference is if I'm trying to figure out this cricket myself and I'm hitting the ball the wrong way, or if Sachin Tendulkar comes and says, I'm going to train you how to play cricket, say he did this as a child, then they can't say, well, he can't play cricket. He's not an Indian, right? But if I learned directly from him and I had some talent, would I not be better than any Indian? Or if you're born in India, that automatically puts you on the cricket team? You're all born in India. How many of you will qualify for the international cricket team? None of you, right? But if you're trained by the proper person, that's why we know that the sanskaras are important. But the sanskara from a devotee, pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada being initiated is the most important one because he puts you directly in touch with Krishna. This isn't a tradition. This is a direct connection to Krishna. So this is, Krishnadas Kaviraj is begging the question here by showing that some say Narayan's God, Vamana's God, all these are there, but there's something extra special. He's making you think, well, sure, Krishna's these things, but why Krishna and why Lord Chaitanya? Because Lord Chaitanya is Krishna directly. He's not the Gaur Narayan, and he came just 500 years ago and is going to explain the external reasons that Lord Chaitanya came and the significance of his incarnation. And that's why we have to get this temple of the Vedic planetarium completed, because it's important. Of course, Prabhupada spent a lot of time in Mumbai wanting to have a temple here. And we went out to collect during the India-Pakistan war. And I'll tell you, we didn't collect any 20 crores of rupees like you did last month. People say, but a war is going on. I say, yeah, but the price of gold is going up. But the price of gold goes up when everything else goes down, right? At people's businesses. So, when the bomb siren went off and you had to go in and turn off all the lights, people weren't enthusiastic to give. And now you have them give us like 20 crores. That's like 20 years of cost for Laguna Beach Temple. So here it's very successful. We see that Lord Chaitanya's mood is here. Because without Lord Chaitanya, people would come look at the deities. But instead, I saw at the Artik, and there was beautiful deities here, and there was books and devotees, and there was wonderful chanting. There was everything but room to get in. And they're chanting as Lord Chaitanya taught, as it's taught in that he's singing the names of God. They're all learning that, and that's the point. And so we need to make this the beacon place, the temple, the Vedic planetarium, so people can take it seriously. You could open up a square meter place and put a deity, and people could come by and offer incense and fruit, but you wouldn't attract the 30, 40,000 people that come here, right? So the same with Lord Chaitanya. We can put up a picture, but if we making a big temple, and people will come, and then they will know the significance of Lord Chaitanya. We'll know that it's then you're trained in how to practice this process of devotion. Otherwise, the temple without the chanting, without the books, and without the classes is like me trying to play cricket by hitting the ball back at me in the wicket instead of being trained by someone who comes along. So Lord Chaitanya trained the people. In one sense, it's very simple, the chanting of Hare Krishna. But we see very vast instructions have gone into this Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we have to take it very seriously. And Prabhupada, when he went to the Uttadanga temple, he said, well, I'm not much interested in sadhus. But when Bhaktisiddhanta saw him, he immediately said, oh, you are an intelligent boy. You should spread this movement of Lord Chaitanya to the Western world. And Prabhupada said to his friend, Narendra Mulak, that this person we have met is the right person to spread Lord Chaitanya's message. And of course, our Srila Prabhupada got this message to spread it to every town and village and to establish, he spent so much time from Mumbai, you can see why here, and to establish this temple of the Vedic planetarium so that people will know who Lord Chaitanya is and know that we have Rama and we have Krishna, but we need to know what to do for this age. And that's what Lord Chaitanya gives us. So that's the special significance that only comes every 8,640,000,000,000 years. And 500 years ago, you divide that into, it's just a very small percentage back compared to how far it is in the future. How far, what would the difference be? It would be, well, if it was 1,000 years ago, it would be 800 billion. So you see that we're so much closer to the last incarnation of God than we are to the next ones. And all these instructions are given to these things were written down in the journals by Swarup Damodar and Raghunath Das Goswami, and Krishnadas Kaviraj took these from the journal. And instructions were given directly to Rupa and Sanatan, and they wrote these things down. The Bible was written 300 years later. These things were written down at the time. Krishnadas Kaviraj took them, the notes that were written down at the time. It's like we read the Transcendental Diary that's written by Hari Sori. Now, when did he write this? At the time, or was it written like 300 years later? If people pass the stories, like the Bible was written 300 years later. If the stories are written down at the time, is there a better chance for accuracy than 300 years later? There is. So this book is showing us the importance of Lord Chaitanya for this age. So you have any questions, comments, or corrections? Do you see why I asked some trick questions there? They couldn't be all of the above. The gopis couldn't have neglected Narayan, think he's the same as Krishna, think he's God, but. So any question or comment about this? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you
Hare
so
Krishna.
much. With your class, I actually got to understand how valuable Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is. Although these numbers were there, but my question is, you said that only once in the day of Brahma,
Yes.
Mahaprabhu comes, and other times God Narayan comes.
Well, once in the day of Brahma, a yellow incarnation comes and a black one. So that's every 8,640,000,000. But once in a kalpa, after 1,000 yugas, the original Krishna comes and the Chaitanya, the original Krishna, comes. So it's once in a day of Brahma, not once in the 4 yugas.
Yes, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, I was wondering, when the other yellow incarnation is supposed to come, you said it's God Narayan.
Yes.
So, you said Mahaprabhu comes to teach us how to worship Lord Krishna. Does God Narayan's activities are same? Does he also comes to teach us how to worship Krishna? And second thing, we understand.
No, because he's Narayan. He comes to teach about Narayan. That's why it's so special in this age. He's Gaur Narayan. That's why Advaita is Narayan, right? He could have just been Gaur Narayan, right? If he came, because Mahavishnu comes in all of the yugas. Mahavishnu came even when Lord Chaitanya came. But Lord Chaitanya, the original Krishna, came. Because Advaita was saying, if it was another yuga, he would have just been the Gaur Narayan and taught the process. He was definitely teaching bhakti, but he prayed that the original form of Krishna came. That's the difference. Whereas in another yuga, it would just be Vishnu, would be the incarnation. He would just be the incarnation, and you wouldn't have Lord Chaitanya. He would teach about Narayan and Vaikuntha. So this age, we get Krishna Loka. So it's a rare opportunity.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Yes. Oh.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, about Gaur Narayan you were saying. So in which Shastra it is mentioned about Gaur Narayan?
Well, remember, it doesn't mention much because the last Kali Yuga was, the last Kali Yuga would be 8 billion 640 million years ago, correct? Or am I getting that wrong? It's 400 and, yes, it would be 400, yeah, because one cycle of the yugas is 4,320,000,000. So then with the night, 8,640,000,000 years ago. It's a while back. So we don't go into that because for us, Lord Chaitanya is relevant for now. So we don't have much about that. Yes.
We read in Shastra that in Kali Yuga, the process of realization is chanting the holy name. So, how is it that Gaur Narayan is teaching about Narayan if the system is chanting Hare Krishna mantra in every Kali Yuga?
Well, he's chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and we have Krishna, but he doesn't have the Madhurya Lila.
So I thought you said that he's teaching about Narayan. So how do you get
Yes.
Narayan from chanting Hare Krishna?
I'm not quite sure what Gaur Narayan does. Do you have any more information on this?
I don't, that's why I'm not saying
Yes.
anything about it.
I think it's because it's so long ago, it's not relevant for us in this position. But
The Shastra says, Kalir doshana de rajaneko yasti mahadgunan.
yes,
So they're teaching Krishna Kirtan. So
Yes.
what is, Narayan is a different, this is Vaikuntha. You don't go
Yes.
to Vaikuntha by chanting Krishna's name. You go to Goloka. Isn't it?
well, they say that if people just practice the Vaidhi Bhakti, they go to Vaikuntha. But I'm not sure. I haven't read much what Gaur Narayan does. I know it's more special to have Lord Chaitanya. And Gaur Narayan doesn't exhibit the same kind of special mood that Lord Chaitanya does. But I haven't read anywhere exactly what he does. If someone's read that or come up with it, I think we're supposed to concentrate on what we get now.
True.
They say there's a special offer now on this product. Well, what was it last month? But it is Gaur Narayan. It isn't directly Krishna. And Advaita is saying that this is something to teach for this age. It has to be the original Krishna. He could have given what Gaur Narayan gave. How it's different, I don't know much because they don't hear about it. Anybody read anything? Anybody remember from 8,640,000,000 years ago? Anybody that was there with him has probably gone back to the spiritual world. Guess you have to Google that. What did Gaur Narayan do?
I heard this, but not from Prabhupada, so I won't repeat it.
Is heard what?
I heard this, but not from Srila Prabhupada, so I won't repeat it in this Sangha.
What did Prabhupada say about it?
I heard information about Gaur Narayan, but I didn't hear it from Srila Prabhupada.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So I will not repeat it.
I guess we better stick with what we got for sure, and we know about Lord Chaitanya. We know Lord Chaitanya would teach anything Gaur Narayan does plus more. So if we follow Lord Chaitanya, we're going to get everything Gaur Narayan could give plus more. And Prabhupada didn't mention it. Maybe it's not our focus of interest to.
We can see the differences in Leela. Advaitam achyutam anadam anantarupam adyam purana purusham navi. That they're Advaita, all the forms to the Lord are Advaita. Krishna is Matsya, Kurma, Varaha,
Yes.
Nishinga, Parashuram, Ram. Now the personality is the same. God's person is one, but the difference is in Leela.
Yes.
So if Gaur Narayan comes to this world, is he giving prema as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving? Krishna, as Rupa Goswami said, Krishna prema pradayate.
Yes.
Is he giving prema? This is the question.
That is the question.
Hare
Like you
Krishna.
say, you hear it from somewhere else, that may be counterproductive. Because, some stories people just make up,
Actually, Prabhu, we don't say it may be.
It may be. It may
But
be.
when we're preaching Krishna consciousness, we don't say it may be, it could be, my opinion.
That's why I'm saying that some
Yeah.
people, that they may give the story that what Prabhupada's given us is directly there, but what you hear somewhere else may or may not be. So it's better, like you say, not to mention it. Isn't it? Or do you think it would be helpful to mention it?
I don't have an opinion.
Well, then it's probably better not to delve into it. Is it helpful to hear what someone else had about it, or is it better just to stick with what we have about Lord Chaitanya? That's the question.
We should stick to what Prabhupada said.
Yes. I mean, we have 7,200 pages in Charitamrita. That seems like there's quite enough information about the yellow incarnation, and especially the recent one.
Maybe in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave extensive commentary on Chaitanya Bhagavat. Maybe something is there.
Maybe something there. We'll have to look. I don't know if it's worth looking into it, or it's better to concentrate more on Lord Chaitanya, since that's what's relevant.
If I find something, Prabhu, I'll let you know.
All right.
Deal?
But we know where to find out about Lord Chaitanya, at least. Fortunately, we have that. That's better than the other way around, having Gaur Narayan and wondering about Lord Chaitanya. But it is interesting, considering he comes 1,000 times as often. But I think we could qualify that as ancient history, correct? 8 billion years ago would be considered ancient history?
Depends who you are. Not for Lord Brahma.
I'm not Lord Brahma.
Just one day for Lord Brahma.
I'm not Lord Brahma.
It's a relative creation.
Yes. I don't know what Brahma knows. Any other question or comment? I hope that was okay. Hare Krishna.